Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.
Thank you for joining me. This is Kati Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Your income isn't going to save you. And there's nobody better to speak on this topic and bring you some tough love, have a little come to Jesus with you today than Misty Jane, who's a first-time guest, but this fierce female that I love following on social media. She is here to share with us her industry experience, insights, and how she helps salon owners and beauty pros on so many topics, but especially has a very, very big passion for this topic on income, financial, everything for the industry. So Misty Jane, you may know, she is the host of the Starting Messy podcast and money, mindset, and accountability coach for hairstylists, helping them redefine what wealth means to them, build financial confidence, and create success in their life and business on their own terms. So without further ado, help me welcome Misty Jane. Welcome to Beyond.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this conversation.
You are so beautiful. You look great. We're like the same age era, I'll say. And people listening, I want them to go watch today's episode. We have the link in our show notes. You can watch it on YouTube so you can see the faces behind the names. And it's when you get a couple women in our kind of time of life in the same room together, I think we just get to the point right away, don't we?
Oh, yeah. We're in the fuck it era. I can cuss, right?
Yep.
Okay.
This is explicit. You're good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to have you, and you do help so many industry pros, and I do love how bold you are. I don't know if you have always been this bold or if you used to be a timid, shy little thing. I doubt it, but tell me, how did you get your start in the beauty industry? What did that journey look like for you?
Yeah. I went to Votech in high school. So I have been doing hair since 2003. So gosh, what are we, over 20 years at this point, which I don't even want to talk about that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was just, I had too much fun in high school and I hated it and I wanted to do something else. And I knew I wasn't going to college. So I found hair and I'm so glad that I did. I mean, I absolutely love this industry. Again, I've been doing it since right out of high school and yeah, and now I get to do it in a different way, which I get to be for other stylists what I needed at a lot of different times in my life, actually.
When you were behind the chair, did you start out at a commission salon? Did you go booth rental right away? Like, what did that look like for you?
I was in a commission salon for 14 years. For 14 years. And I'm committed. I've like worked 7 years in one place, 7 years in another, and I did not go out on my own until I think it was year 14. And it was after I got my financial shit together. And before then, I was like, nope, I'm just meant to, work for somebody and I never want to own my own thing. And there was a lot of lack of trust in myself in that time. And then that just shifted everything. And I went out on my own.
Wow. So that's kind of incredible, that long of a period. And was this all I know you're an East Coast girl. Have you always been? Were you moving around? What did that look like?
No, I have lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23455 my entire life. I love to travel, but I ain't going nowhere. So I have been in this area. I mean, gosh, I went to high school in this area. So my whole career I moved when I got my first suite. I went 20 minutes away from where I worked my whole career. That's as far as I ever went.
That's Well, did you like, are you still behind the chair now?
1 day a week.
Yep.
Yep. So I booth rent 1 day a week just to kind of stay in it. And I have the OGs that would probably like, burn my house down when if I walked away fully.
What transitional, like what thing happened where you said, I want to make a transition from being behind the chair to coaching others in this industry and how to be successful and owning their own business?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I knew I wanted to help stylists in some way. Like once I was in my suite, I was like, okay, I have something here. Because I was talking to people, in the suite, like that had other suites, and I was like, they're always asking me questions. And I'm like, okay, I can help stylists. So I didn't know what that was going to look like. So I started going to Toastmasters, which is a public speaking thing, and we had to do an icebreaker. And the icebreaker I decided to do around my money story. So my husband and I, we were $48,000 in debt when I was still in a commission salon, and we just kind of had this mentality that like, well, I'm just a hairstylist and you work in like construction and like we can never have these things and we're just meant for like financial stress all the time. And we kind of got to the point where we're like, no, 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 something's off, right? So we paid off the $48,000 in debt in 2 years. And so I told that story, which is a longer story, at Toastmasters, and everyone was like, oh my God, like this was so inspiring. So that was kind of in the back of my head. Then I have a conversation with a friend of mine who is an educator in the hair world, Sarah Marie, the Vivid Brunette on Instagram, if you've ever heard of her, Coco Lemon. And she's like, come teach a class at my salon. And I'm like, what? I knew I wanted to help. I knew I wanted to teach. I did not know what that was going to look like. She's like, just come and tell your money story. So I did. And the tickets were so inexpensive. Like it was like, I want to say I charged like 30, $40 per ticket. But it sold out. Like there was interest in this topic. And I did. I went in, I made little workbooks. Like, oh, it's so funny now that I think about it. I printed them on my printer with a stapler.
Mm.
And I went and I told my story and I just taught what I did, and I still get messages from these girls from that class still to this day of like their financial wins. And that is when it clicked. That is when it was like, this is needed because everyone talks about making more money. Everyone talks about technique and how to build a business. And no one talks about what do you do with your money when you get out of the salon? What do you do with your paycheck? Right? There's so many stylists that are just living paycheck to paycheck. And it's like nobody teaches us the basics of financial literacy. No one, unless you're taking a class, unless you're seeking it out. Half of our parents are struggling with it. We don't learn it in hair school. We don't learn it in high school. And it was just this aha moment. So 2020 happened, and my 5 year plan got sped up because I had a kindergartner at home and he had to do virtual learning. So I broke up with my entire hair clientele and I said, I'm going all in on coaching. And that's exactly what I did. And I was completely away from the salon for 10 months and just showing up online. I started the podcast in that time and just started sharing. And it's just kind of evolved from there.
Wow. Well, I think a lot of people listening can relate to like, we're in trouble. How do we get out of this debt? So tell me when you said no, 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 there's something going wrong here. We have to fix it. What was that? And then what did you do to get out of this? Because that's the stronghold that so many people feel they're imprisoned by.
Yep.
What did you do?
Yeah, it started with a $99 Dave Ramsey like package, right? I was like, something's off. I need to learn something, is what it was. So I got this Dave Ramsey thing and I read the book and watched the DVD, right? And I looked at my husband and I was like, no one has ever taught me this. I never thought of a credit card as a product. Like I was taught that you're an adult, you have a credit card and you have good credit and you can buy anything. So that's what I was doing. I was just buying everything, right? I could pay my balance. So that's what adults do. Great. So I listened to him and I'm like, oh my God, like this is so simple. Like this isn't that complicated, right? So we sat down literally that night. We cut up all our credit cards. I do love numbers. And I started just writing out like if we paid this much, what would that look like? If we did this, what would that look like? What did a budget look like? And I started doing it. And we went through the whole route of putting money in an envelope and going to the grocery store. And it was the week after we cut up the credit cards, we had a strict plan. We had all the restrictions. We were going to do all of these things just like that. And I got a parking ticket out of nowhere. And it was only a $20 parking ticket, but it wrecked me. It wrecked me. I started crying. I was like, our plan isn't going to work. We're not meant to do this. And that's when I realized it was emotional.
Mm.
And that is when it really switched. And that's when I realized that restriction ain't gonna work. We're not gonna be able for 2 years never to go out to eat or never to do this. So what I did is I took what I learned from those DVDs and those books, and then I took the actual what I was living and I started to put them together. And like, how can we actually stay consistent with this goal? Because I'm used to goals that last 3 hours, like a color correction. Like I'm used to instant validation. A lot of stylists, like we don't hit these long-term goals because we need that quick fix. If it doesn't happen right now, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to give up. So we started finding ways, my husband and I, of like how to keep going. And literally, which is still crazy to me, to the day that we cut up our credit cards was the day that 2 years exactly to the day, April 22nd, 2018. Yes, I think it was 2018. We paid off the $48,000 in debt, which what I want people to understand is when you pay off $48,000 in debt in 2 years, that means you now have $24,000 a year that you are paying for that debt that you now have free.
Yep.
And that changed our lives.
Mhm. Well, and set you up for the ability to launch your own business.
Yep.
Where you weren't
Hmm.
tied to having to be behind the chair.
Yep. And
So
I opened my
what a
suite
gift
with
to
no
have
debt.
you. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I don't think I would have done it if we would have had the debt. I think I would have just stayed in the commission salon. So opening the suite was 100% funded, and everything I was making at that point was profit, which was great, you
Huge.
know? Well, not everything. I mean, obviously business stuff, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of stylists out there, I think you're right that it is this instant gratification
Hmm.
and maybe not thinking past 3, 6 months from now.
Yes.
What else do you see? Like, I know that you get frustrated if stylists don't even care about this topic because you're like, you should care. Why should they care?
And I will say, I don't even know if it's not that they don't care. They don't want to look at it, right? I know for me, I had to look in the mirror and go, I was the problem because I was blaming my salon owners. I was blaming taxes. I was blaming everything besides what was actually doing it. I was just spending. We were spending like $1,000 a month on like going out to eat. And I didn't even realize it. So I'm saying, oh, we don't have money for all this important long-term stuff. And I think that a lot of times people just really, they're already judging themselves, right? They're judging themselves for the debt. They're judging themselves for, overspending. And they think that they're the only ones going through it, right? Or they're surrounded by people who, when they complain about money, are also complaining about money. So then it just feels normal, right? Well, everyone has money stress. And it's like, not really. And not saying that all money stress is a choice. There are very extreme, there's so many different things out there that could be happening. But I want to talk directly to the stylists who are busy, right? Like the busy stylists who come home and still live paycheck to paycheck. Like you have to look in the mirror. You have to go, what is happening here? And why can I not create the life I want financially outside of the salon? Because something needs to shift. And I promise you, it's deeper than your income. Making more isn't going to fix it because you're just going to spend more, period. I could have made, I could have literally won the lottery. What 78% of people that win the lottery end up worse off because they're not thinking of the foundations of money. They don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to understand that the overspending isn't about what you're buying. It's about filling a void,
Mm,
right? We're trying to fill some kind of void. We're bored, we're tired, we're sad. What makes us feel better? That dopamine hit of buying ourselves a present. You know? So it's so much deeper than just the bank account, and I think a lot of people are scared to face it.
do you feel like your accountability partner at the time was your husband
1,000%.
and you understood because you uncovered your personal void?
Hmm.
How do you help stylists take a look at themselves in the mirror and work through that? Because it is psychology, not just like, I'm going to teach you how to manage your money better. There's
Yes.
thousands of programs out there to help people with that, but you do something a little bit special and different. Tell us about that.
Yes. So within the first year, I realized that this wasn't just about budgets. Like as I was helping stylists and I'm teaching how to budget, and I'm like, okay, I need to take some life coaching courses. So I immediately started learning. I still am learning more and more about life coaching. That's I think something I'll do forever because that is where it really happens, right? You can chat GPT a budget. Like you know what I mean? Like there's a million different spreadsheets. You can literally hook up your bank accounts to apps. It'll make you a budget. Like it's not that. Why are you not looking at your money? Why are we scared? Sometimes people are scared to hold money, right? Like they see a large amount in their account and that actually makes them uncomfortable. They feel not deserving. Like it turns into this whole self-worth thing. So what happens? I got to get rid of it. Let's spend it, right? I mean, and there's a million different, like, deeper meanings behind the money, but that is where I went, that's it. And even now, this year specifically, I'm like, I feel so disconnected from the budget conversation almost at this point because I'm like, that's not the problem. It's such a deeper issue. So that I really love coaching. One-on-one coaching is like my favorite for this reason because I can get down deep into why are we feeling this way? Why is there resistance? Why, are we spending in this area? What are we looking for really? Because a lot of us that we're craving six figures and I'll say, "Why do you want six figures?" And they'll say, "I don't know." Or "I don't have enough money." What is enough? Well, I don't know. So we're all, not all, a lot of us are out here asking for things and we don't even know why, or
Mm.
we don't even know what we're asking for, So it's just such a deeper conversation.
I love it. And I feel like you did the work to uncover and do this for yourself. And now you're helping others do it for themselves.
Hmm.
Have a story you could share of how somebody began working with you and just how they've transformed themselves and started out maybe with money, but it's become identity?
Yes, absolutely. So I have this one client in particular. So she comes to me, she's terrified. Everyone who starts working with me is always so scared. And I'm not a scary person, right? But there's this fear of like, I have to face things, right? So we start working together, and the first thing that I do is I have people comb through their finances. And basically, you're going through all of your statements and you're seeing where your money is going, like you're paying attention. And then I'm having them also write down what you're feeling in this moment. Like, I want you to, like, what's coming up for you? Are you nervous? Are you happy? Sometimes people look and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I have more money than I thought," right? Um, so she comes because she's scared to look, right? So we start going through that process. And what we start uncovering is that there was this need to like fulfill all of the things, right? So she was constantly, like, even outside of money, it was a constant trying to learn, trying to, like, not enough. Like, I got to do more, do more, do more. So in this particular client situation, is the money part flowed, right? She looked through it, she figured out where she needed to tweak, fine. So then it turned into, hey, you need some white space. Like you need to just like I gave her homework of like no personal development for 2 weeks, right? Because what was happening is she kept feeling like she needed to do more. So she was filling her head with all this personal development, reading all the books, doing all the things, and then shutting down because she was overwhelmed with all of it. So what happened is 2 weeks goes by and she gets all the answers she's looking for in all these books and stuff from herself because she could actually hear her own thoughts. So she started being more creative. She also teaches on YouTube and things like that. So she started putting more videos out. And then she found that she was finding her confidence by doing the thing
Mm.
because she was looking for her confidence in all of the books and the podcasts, and that's not where it is. So, this is a perfect example of how it starts with money and then it shifts into something so much deeper. But it always starts with money. Think of half of the decisions that happen in the salon or half of the decisions that happen in your life. They're usually around money. You're not doing something because of money. You're raising your price, whatever it may be. Like money is always the root of it, but it's always so much deeper.
That is so interesting. And I had never really thought about that.
Mm.
All of the decisions, all of the things are to grow revenue or cut expenses, or we want to do
Hmm.
this class, but how much is it going to cost? Will our stylist invest in it? Will we not?
Hmm. Well,
And you're
even
right.
think about
Money is
you get a client that no shows or cancels, right? If you're already financially feeling stressed out, what happens?
you get real pissed and want to charge
Real
them.
pissed. Exactly. Now, what happens if you feel financially great? Like you're prepared and then they cancel or no show, then what happens? You're going for a walk, you're getting a coffee, you're having lunch, you're making content. Like it's a completely different energy. So it just so many little tiny things like affect our mood and we just don't even realize it.
We think it's money, but it's not. It's tied to something deeper, and you help
Hmm.
people really find out what that is.
Yes.
When
Yep.
when industry pros start to work with you as a one-on-one coach,
Hmm.
what does that kind of programming look like or timeline? Because I want everybody to listen, who is listening, to go to our link in our show notes
Hmm.
to follow you on Instagram for sure, hands down, because it's just bold and awesome and straightforward, which I love and appreciate. And also your website. So
Hmm.
tell us a bit about what does it look like to work with Misty Jane?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one packaging because I it's always funny to say, but the first couple of calls, like they're not that much fun. They're hard. You're doing stuff you don't want to do. There's resistance, right? So I work with people for 3 months. So we talk twice a month for 3 months. I work with people longer, but that is minimum. And that is just because like those hard days, I always say you got to show up. You still got to show up because that is the important stuff, right? So I work with people for 3 months. We talk one on one via Zoom. There's also Voxer support. Like I am in your back pocket for 3 full months because I know for me in my journey, the 3 months is when it finally was like, okay, okay. But the cool thing is people will continue to work with me because they realize I help with a lot more things.
Yes.
So yeah, so one-on-one coaching, the packaging is how the best way I can support people, especially when it comes to the deeper work. Because again, especially if you've tried it before, all my clients have tried getting their financial shit together before and it hasn't worked, right? Because it's surface level.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
interesting. And at the beginning, you kind of shared how you had somebody reach out and say, will you come and speak to my whole team? Is this something you still offer? Tell us
Yes, the
about
money beyond the chair class. Absolutely. I love this, especially for the salon owner that is tired of hearing people wish they had a higher commission, complain about their income, and then they're in the back room talking about going out to the club. I don't know if people even still go to clubs anymore, but or buying the new purse, right? So I love these classes because I come in and I give a different perspective. Even with budgeting, everyone's like, oh, well, I don't want to be restrictive, friends. It's not restrictive unless you make it restrictive, period. It is just giving your money a job. That's all it is, right? It's giving you permission to spend on things. You want to go to the club? Fine. Does $100 fit in your budget? Awesome. Now you can go without the regret the next morning of not knowing how to pay your bills. So I basically come in and give a 3 hour interactive, a little bit of coaching. It's not quite as deep because it's a little different situation, but full workbook, all of the things, and help the salons. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do.
Well, I know this is not a $30 ticket anymore. What does that look
No,
like
it's
for a
not. So the
salon?
salon owners, I don't do hosts yet. So the salon owners bring me in. So and that's all on the website.
Cool, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and honestly, I love that
Mhm.
because I think a salon owner being able to pay you this one price to bring you in for everybody is an
Yep.
easier, more accessible way to do it than it's going to be this per person that shows up.
Yeah.
Um, there's just more stress of who's going to want to do this now. Da, 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 da.
Well,
So,
and there's always that little bit of resistance from somebody in the group. Always.
sure.
And
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
'Cause I know there's going to be one. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to
Yeah,
be?
there's always one. But it's cool too because I'm going to a salon at the end of the month that I went to 2 years ago, and they're having me back because they have new stylists and they see the value in it, which just makes my heart happy because it's just a conversation that needs to happen. And a happy stylist outside of the salon, especially financially, is going to be a happy stylist in the salon. So I really think that salon owners need to think outside of the box when it comes to education, because I know if I'm happy in my life, I'm usually pretty happy in my career.
Absolutely. They go hand in hand. Absolutely. And let's talk to the people listening who are really confident and have great money management
Hmm.
behaviors.
Yes.
What are you here to help them do to elevate their kind of like legacy goals or wealth building goals?
I like this question. Well, for these people, awesome. Good for you. I hope that you're helping others. I think that it's a conversation that needs to be more prevalent. And please help others in a non-shaming way. Um, as far as like building a business around your life, that is what I like to help people with. Majority of the people that come to me, because I have people that come to me that think that they have money problems that don't, right? Like they are looking at the things, they are organized, they have all of the things, but there's still that little bit of self-worth situation that's happening. I have two clients in particular that I'm thinking of. And what is cool with them is that they already have the money foundation, which is great, but they want the freedom. But the problem is usually they have a hard time with the freedom because they think that the hard work has to come with the money. And a lot of times when you get to a certain point in your career, you can slow down and still make the money. And that is when I come in and like, because
Yeah.
that a lot of times people are like, nope, got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep this money going. It's like, well, you can. We got to reverse engineer what that's going to look like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm thinking even about stylists in your situation who was like 20 years in. How do I transition to not feel like if I don't go behind the chair full time, I'm going
Hmm.
to lose all this that I'm used to earning. And I think
Yep.
that's a big fear for people who are growing in this industry as well. How do
Yeah.
they create that plan?
Yeah. Okay, let's actually talk about this for a second outside of money because this is something I talk about quite often. When you are stepping away, not even stepping away, when you are, say you raise your prices, right? You raise your prices, you work the schedule that you want to work, like everything is happening exactly like you planned. And then you start seeing gaps in your schedule. You start seeing like, days where you don't have anybody, but you're still making the same, if not more, right? That money stress still sneaks in, even if you're making more money, because you're used to seeing that full book. And that comes in with that safety feeling of, well, if I make changes, everything is going to fall apart and everyone is going to leave me. And so in that case, again, it comes back to the deeper work of like, hey, you're getting what you asked for. You're getting the more money, you're getting more time freedom. This is what you asked for. But for the past 20 years, you have been used to seeing a full book. So now your body is confused. You're seeing one thing and your body is going, oh my God, it's all falling apart. But it's not. So it's learning how to kind of rewrite those stories because you can get very stuck in those stories for especially 20 years. It happened to me when I walked away from behind the chair because there wasn't that instant validation all the time. I was used to that. You don't get a lot of instant validation with coaching. Some you coach, they have to go and do the thing. before they even get any kind of change, right? So it's a very different feeling for hairstylists when everything that they were used to doing changes. But that's literally what a lot of them are asking for.
Well, speaking of changes, when you pivoted
Mhm.
and had to maybe replace or maybe even your income elevated with your new business model now, you also have this new sense of freedom, which we ultimately want for people to have an experience in this industry.
Mhm.
What did, for you personally, did you take up any new hobbies? Is there something new in your life that you've stepped into that you like love and it's brought you so much joy because you've made those changes?
Oh, this has been one of the hardest. I will never sugarcoat this. This has been one of the hardest transitions I have ever made. I still have not replaced my income with coaching. This has been, so I don't ever, I'm never going to be that person that is like, you can walk away from behind the chair and you can start coaching and you're going to replace your income and you're going to have freedom and you're going to do all the things immediately. No, I'm 5 years still working on a lot of it. Why? Because it's a whole different business. So for me, I have picked up journaling. I have picked up hot yoga. I have picked up long, mindful walks. I have picked up mental health. I have prioritized it like I have never, ever prioritized it in my life because it's different. It's so different. And I think that Instagram and what we see online isn't always true. And there's a lot more behind the scenes that people don't talk about, and I will always talk about it. So,
Yeah, I think you will. And this is why I love
yeah.
following you. So I appreciate your just authenticity. And I know you didn't say this, but even if you didn't replace the income, you have a whole new life now that you wouldn't trade to get that income back. Am I right?
1,000%. The time freedom has been awesome. I mean, I can take my son to school, I can pick him up from school. I mean, I had a meeting with his counselor randomly today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is great. And again, it's exactly what I asked for. So it's kind of, learning to reevaluate as you are growing and understanding like that change is inevitable with growth, I think is the most important part for anyone who is looking to switch up their careers.
Well, and in addition to that gem of advice, what would be some final words of encouragement for salon owners or industry pros both listening today?
If we're going to talk specifically about money, please stop ignoring it. Please, please, please. Financial wellness is self care. It is the ultimate form of self care. And I am a strong believer that sometimes self care does suck at the beginning, right? Like we think of self care as like facials and massages. And it's like, no, self care is doctor's appointments and making budgets and like the shit that you don't want to do that's going to make your life easier. I felt financially free 3 months into the journey before I ever paid off a big chunk of debt because I was actively working towards this thing. I learned how to take control of my finances. And that's the important part. Like, you don't have to find the end. The end isn't when the freedom comes, it's the actions that you're taking towards it is where the freedom shows up. So, please do the thing. Please, please, please. Like the tiny little steps that you feel like aren't doing anything are still pushing you forward. There's still steps in the right direction. So we got to stop thinking that this one big change is going to fix everything. It's the tiny little consistencies every day that are actually going to make the biggest difference.
Man, these last 2 minutes were everything. People need to stay to the end every single episode for moments like this. That was awesome, Misty. I like being around you. I think you're so
Aw.
great. Thank you for taking time to be with us today. We really appreciate having you here.
Yes, thank you so, so much.
And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you appreciate this platform, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.